What advice would you give to our listeners juggling multiple roles and responsibilities like you?
I'd say, stay organized and don't be afraid to ask for help. Prioritize what's important and carve out time for activities that nurture your soul. And remember, it's all about progress, not perfection. Keep moving forward and embrace the journey.
I'm excited about this new series of podcasts. Welcome to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast, a podcast about becoming 1% better every day. And now your host, yours truly, Clarence Stowers. Hey everyone, this is Clarence E. Stowers Jr., host of the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast, a podcast about becoming 1% better every day so that you can level up in all areas of life. And I'm excited about this new series of podcasts. For those who are listening know or may not know, I am a pastor. I pastor the Mars Hill Baptist Church of Chicago. We call ourselves Mars Hill Anywhere. And that's reflected in our digital approach, in the revamping of our church app. And that app we nicknamed Church in Your Pocket. From there, you can access our sermons, our teachings, our calendar, and Bible reading, and be kept abreast as to what's happening in and around Mars Hill. The interviews I've scheduled have been on point, real, relevant, and raw. You're going to hear from some incredible leaders, both within the church as well as outside, to share their perspective on how we navigate not our new normal, but as Tom Rainer says, our new reality. Hello and welcome to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast, where we focus on practical insights and inspiring stories to help you grow spiritually, professionally, and personally. I'm Clarence E. Stowers Jr., and I'm thrilled to have you join me today. In today's podcast, we dive into a variety of topics designed to empower you on your journey of faith, professionalism, and perhaps leadership. Whether you're navigating the challenges of your personal life, seeking deeper spiritual growth, or simply looking for encouragement, this podcast is here to support you in every step of the way. In each segment of this episode, we will explore real-life stories, practical advice that you can apply directly to your daily life. And we emphasize the importance of integrating faith in our busy lives. I understand that balancing work, family, and personal growth can be challenging. That's why I am excited to offer you a special resource that's compliments of this podcast, my free ebook, Faith on the Fly, a practical guide to spiritual growth for busy professionals. Now, this ebook is packed with practical tips and strategies to help you grow spiritually, even with the hectic schedule. It's designed to be a quick and easy read, offering insights that you can implement right away. Whether you're looking to deepen your prayer life, find more time for reflection, or simply stay connected to your faith throughout the week, Faith on the Fly has got you covered. To get this free ebook, to get your free copy of this ebook, simply check today's show notes. That's it. It's my gift to you as a token of appreciation for being a part of our podcast community.
Welcome to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Clarence E. Stowers Jr., and with me is my dynamic co-host and virtual assistant, Tasha McBride. In today's episode, we'll cover several insightful topics to help busy professionals like you integrate faith into your hectic schedules. First, we'll discuss incorporating faith into your daily life and why it's crucial for personal and professional growth. Then, we'll dive into practical strategies and tips from the Faith on the Fly guide, developed to make spiritual growth more attainable, no matter how busy you are. Lastly, we'll also share real-life applications through testimonies and anecdotes from professionals who have successfully woven their faith into their routines. Whether you want to deepen your spiritual journey or seek ways to balance faith with your busy life, today's episode is packed with valuable content to inspire and uplift you. So let's get started on this journey of growth, faith, and professional excellence. Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show. Today, we're thrilled to introduce you to our incredible co-host and virtual assistant, Tasha McBride. If you've been enjoying our seamlessly executed episodes, you have Tasha to thank for much of that.
Thanks, Pastor Stowers. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here and share more about what goes on behind the scenes. It's really a team effort to bring valuable content to all of our wonderful listeners.
Absolutely, Tasha. You know, when we started this podcast, we wanted to ensure everything ran smoothly, from the planning stages all the way to the final product. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your role and responsibilities?
Of course, my main role is to keep things organized and on track. This involves planning each episode, conducting research, coordinating with guests, and handling all the scheduling. I like to think of myself as the glue that holds everything together. It's a lot of work, but incredibly rewarding.
And you do such an amazing job, Tasha. I'm always impressed by your attention to detail and your ability to juggle multiple tasks. What keeps you motivated?
Thanks, Pastor. What keeps me motivated is the knowledge that we're providing something of value to our listeners. I'm passionate about learning and self-improvement, and I truly believe in the mission of the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast. Being part of a team that inspires growth and community aligns perfectly with my personal values.
That's fantastic to hear. You know, one thing that stands out about you is your ability to make complex topics accessible and relatable. How do you prepare for each episode to ensure you're bringing that clarity and insight?
Preparation is key. I start by thoroughly researching the topic and then break down complex ideas into simpler concepts. I also try to think from the listener's perspective. What questions might they have? What aspects might be confusing? From there, I work on scripting and discussions to ensure our listeners walk away with practical, actionable insights.
And listeners, I can vouch for that. Tasha's warm and approachable demeanor truly shines through in each episode. You make everyone feel welcomed and engaged. What are some of your favorite topics to cover on the podcast?
I really enjoy exploring personal development and leadership topics. It's fascinating to explore how faith and personal growth intersect, and find ways to integrate these concepts into our daily routines, especially for busy professionals. If our discussions can help someone navigate their hectic schedules while also growing spiritually and personally, that's a huge win for me.
Couldn't agree more. And when you're not behind the scenes of the podcast, what other activities or hobbies do you enjoy?
I love exploring new technologies and digital tools. I'm a bit of a tech enthusiast. I'm also an avid reader and enjoy connecting with people from diverse backgrounds. I find that every interaction teaches me something new, which I can then bring back to our podcast.
That's wonderful, Tasha. Your passion for learning and your dedication to excellence are evident in everything you do. Lastly, what advice would you give to our listeners juggling multiple roles and responsibilities like you?
I'd say, stay organized and don't be afraid to ask for help. Prioritize what's important and carve out time for activities that nurture your soul. And remember, it's all about progress, not perfection. Keep moving forward and embrace the journey.
Wise words, Tasha. Thank you for sharing your insights with us today. We're so grateful for everything you do to make this podcast successful.
Thank you, Pastor Stowers, and thanks to our listeners for tuning in. I'm excited to continue this journey with all of you.
Welcome back, listeners. Now, we want to dive into the core of today's episode: how to incorporate faith into a busy schedule. Many professionals face this challenge, but it's not impossible. One powerful insight from our guide, Faith on the Fly, is that integrating spirituality doesn't have to be time-consuming or complicated.
Exactly, Pastor. Being a busy professional myself, I know how demanding schedules can be. But I've found that even small moments of faith can significantly impact. It's about finding those little pockets of time to reconnect spiritually. One tip we suggest in Faith on the Fly is to start your day with a brief meditation or prayer. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, setting aside that time helps ground your day. It's like setting the tone for everything that follows. Yes, and another strategy is to incorporate faith moments into your daily routines. For instance, if you have a commute, you can listen to a devotional podcast or an audiobook that uplifts your spirit. It's a simple way to turn otherwise mundane time into a spiritually enriching experience.
That's spot on. Also, mealtime prayers can be a great way to pause and express gratitude. These small acts can bring peace and purpose throughout your day. What do you think, Tasha?
I completely agree. Another practical tip from our guide is to create a faith corner in your workspace, a small place with inspirational quotes, affirmations, or religious symbols. These visual reminders can help you refocus and recharge even during a busy workday.
That's a wonderful idea. And let's not forget the importance of community. Even though professionals are often pressed for time, connecting with a spiritual community, whether it's a virtual prayer group or weekly service, adds a valuable support system. It's a way to stay connected both spiritually and socially.
Absolutely, Pastor. Besides community, integrating faith into decision-making processes at work can also be powerful. This doesn't necessarily mean making every decision a religious one, but allowing faith-based principles like integrity, compassion, and patience to guide your professional actions.
Indeed, Tasha. Reflecting on these principles can lead to spiritual growth and professional advancement. We're discussing a holistic approach where faith informs your leadership style and workplace interactions.
It's also vital to remember that faith isn't a separate part of life. It's integrated into everything we do. Simple daily reminders like a prayer before big meetings or quiet moments of reflection during lunch breaks can make a big difference.
And Tasha, I love the idea of ending the day with gratitude. Reflecting on the day's positives, no matter how small, can be quite powerful. It's a way to acknowledge growth, stay mindful, and spiritually prepare for the next day.
That's a great way to wrap up the day, Pastor. Each of these practices, morning meditation, integrating faith into daily routines, creating a faith-oriented workspace, engaging with a community, decision-making, and ending the day with gratitude, aren't huge time commitments, but they offer significant spiritual benefits.
Exactly. And the aim is not to add more to your plate, but to enrich what you're already doing. It's about quality moments, not quantity. So, implementing these small strategies can make a huge difference in how you experience your daily life through the lens of faith.
That's right. The key takeaway for our listeners is that incorporating faith into a busy schedule is achievable and incredibly rewarding. By embedding these practices into our daily lives, we cultivate a constant connection with the divine, which can lead to deeper peace, clarity, and a more fulfilled life overall.
All right, Tasha. That was such a helpful discussion on how to incorporate faith into our hectic lives. Now let's dive into some real-life applications of what we've discussed. I think it's always powerful to hear how other professionals are making it work.
Absolutely, Pastor Stowers. It brings these strategies to life. I remember reading a story from Faith on the Fly about a woman named Jessica, a high-level executive in a tech company. Jessica's days were often packed with meetings, deadlines, and little time for personal reflection. However, she found a way to integrate her faith into her routine in a profound yet practical manner.
Jessica's approach is really inspiring. She developed a habit of starting her day with a moment of gratitude and a simple prayer, even if it was just for 5 minutes. This practice set a positive tone for the day and helped her create peace in her fast-paced work environment.
Yes, and she didn't stop there. Jessica also adapted her commute to create a sanctuary of sorts. Instead of listening to the news or catching up on work emails, she listened to uplifting podcasts and audiobooks that nurtured her spiritual growth. It's all about leveraging those small, otherwise mundane pockets of time.
That's a technique many of us could adopt, Tasha, and it's not just about personal gain. There's another story in the guide about David, a marketing manager who started a small prayer group at his office. He noticed a need for community and support among his colleagues, so he proposed a weekly lunch hour meeting where they could share and pray together.
David's initiative had a ripple effect, creating a more supportive and empathetic workplace culture. People felt more connected and valued. It's amazing how a single idea can foster significant change. And it's not just about corporate environments either. Many of these practices work well in small business settings and entrepreneurial ventures.
Exactly. Take, for example, Rachel, a freelance graphic designer. Working from home gave her flexibility but also left her feeling isolated. To counter that, Rachel scheduled faith breaks into her workday. These consisted of short devotions, reflective reading, and quick mindfulness exercises. She even set up a small, dedicated prayer space in her home office. Tasha. Rachel's story underscores the importance of intentionality. She transformed solitude into an opportunity for deeper spiritual engagement. It's a shift in perspective that can really resonate with remote workers.
And it's worth mentioning how these integrations of faith can also extend into family life. Another compelling example from Faith on the Fly is about Michael, a busy father and lawyer. Despite his demanding job, Michael prioritized family prayer time. Every evening, he gathered his family for a few minutes of prayer and reflection, creating a spiritual anchor for their day. Michael's practice didn't just foster his own spiritual growth, but also nurtured his entire family's faith journey. It's a beautiful reminder that our spiritual practices have the power to uplift those around us. Yes, and integrating faith doesn't have to be complex or time-consuming. A story that sticks with me from the guide is about Sarah, a nurse working grueling 12-hour shifts. She incorporated faith by repeating an affirming Bible verse or mantra during stressful moments. It helped her stay centered and compassionate in her demanding role. It's a testament to how even the smallest practices can make a big difference. Every bit helps to maintain spiritual balance amid our busy lives.
That's right. These real-life applications demonstrate the versatility of integrating faith into our routines and highlight its profound impact on our personal and professional lives. Each story shows that it's possible, no matter how busy or stressful life can get.
And these examples are a reminder that we're not alone in this journey. Many others are finding creative and meaningful ways to grow spiritually, despite life's demands.
Absolutely, Tasha. So to all our listeners, whether you're a high-powered executive, a freelancer, or juggling family responsibilities, remember that it is possible to grow in your faith no matter how packed your schedule is. Your spiritual journey can weave through every aspect of your life, catalyzing personal growth and positively impacting those around you.
Stay tuned, everyone. We've got more real-life faith and leadership stories coming in future episodes. We would love to hear your stories too, so don't hesitate to reach out and share how you're incorporating faith into your daily life.
Thank you, Tasha, for sharing these compelling stories. We hope they inspire our listeners to find innovative ways to nurture their spiritual growth. Welcome back, everyone. We're now moving into one of my favorite segments, our Q&A session, where Tasha and I tackle the questions you've sent in about spiritual growth and integrating faith into your daily life.
Pastor Stowers, I love this part because we engage directly with our listeners and provide practical advice. So let's dive right in. Our first question today is from Emily in Chicago. She asks, how can I find time for prayer and reflection in my busy schedule, especially when work gets hectic?
That's a fantastic question, Emily, and one I think many of us can relate to. One strategy is to find micro moments throughout your day. For example, step away from your workspace during your lunch break for 5 to 10 minutes. Find a quiet spot, perhaps in a nearby park or even in your car, and spend that time in prayer or reflection.
That's a great tip. Another idea is to incorporate prayer into your daily commute. If you're driving, you can turn off the radio and use that time for prayer. Or if you're on public transportation, you can use earbuds to listen to a guided meditation or podcast that helps you focus on your faith.
Absolutely. Commuting time can be particularly effective. It's all about making small, intentional changes that allow you to incorporate faith into the parts of your day that might otherwise feel wasted.
Next up, we have a question from Mark in Atlanta. He wonders, how can I bring my faith into my workplace without feeling like I'm preaching or making others uncomfortable?
Great question, Mark. Living out your faith through actions rather than words is important. One way you can do this is by showing kindness and compassion to your colleagues, being a good listener, offering to help when someone is swamped, and simply being a positive presence can speak volumes about your faith without you having to say a word.
Yes, leading by example is so powerful. Also, you could consider starting a small prayer group or a faith-based book club with interested colleagues. It can be as informal as meeting once a week during lunch to discuss how your faith helps you tackle life's challenges. This creates a supportive environment for like-minded individuals without imposing on those who might not share the same views.
Exactly. It's all about creating space for faith respectfully and inclusively. Our next question is from Sarah in Los Angeles, and she asks, how do I stay spiritually connected when traveling for work?
Oh, that's a good one. Traveling can disrupt our routines. You can bring along a small devotional book or download a faith-based app on your phone. Many apps offer daily devotionals, inspiring sermons, or community prayer groups.
Another tip is to find a local church to visit, if your schedule allows. Many churches have websites or social media pages where you can check out their service times and events. Attending a service away from home can give you a fresh perspective and keep you connected to the larger faith community.
And let's not forget the power of virtual connections. Many faith communities offer live-streamed services and online prayer groups. Just because you're physically away doesn't mean you can't stay spiritually connected.
Absolutely. Technology can be a wonderful bridge. Our final question for today is from David in New York. He asks, what are some ways to incorporate faith into my family life when I'm busy with work?
Great question, David. One way to integrate faith into family life is by involving your family in spiritual practices. This can be as simple as sharing a brief devotional or prayer before meals. You can also set aside time each week for a family faith night. Use this time to read stories, discuss their meanings, and discuss how they can apply them to everyday situations.
Getting kids involved can also be fun and impactful. For instance, you could have them participate in community service projects, which can be a great way to live out your faith together as a family. It teaches them the importance of giving back and seeing faith in action.
Absolutely. Faith is a journey. Involving your family can make that journey even more meaningful. And there you have it. Practical, real-world advice for integrating faith into your busy lives. Thank you so much for your insightful questions, everyone.
Yes, thank you. We hope these tips are helpful as you navigate your professional and spiritual journeys. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Let's quickly recap the key points we discussed. We started by exploring the importance of incorporating faith into a busy professional's schedule. Then, we introduced you to our amazing co-host and virtual assistant, Tasha McBride, highlighting her invaluable role in keeping this podcast running smoothly.
We also explored various strategies and tips from the Faith on the Fly guide, offering practical suggestions on seamlessly integrating faith into your daily life. Next, we shared some real-life examples of professionals who have successfully woven faith into their routines, providing you with tangible, relatable stories. And of course, we concluded with a thought-provoking Q&A segment addressing your burning questions about spiritual growth and daily faith integration.
One more thing, don't forget my free ebook, *Faith on the Fly, a practical guide to spiritual growth for busy professionals, which is available in today's show notes. Don't miss this valuable resource to enhance your spiritual journey.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast, Faith on the Fly, a practical guide to spiritual growth for busy professionals. We appreciate your time and commitment to your spiritual and personal growth. Be sure to join us in the next episode as we continue to empower and inspire you on this journey. Until next time, stay blessed and keep growing.
You've been listening to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast. Join us next time for more insights on becoming 1% better each day and leveling up in all areas of life.